Hey, everybody, welcome to MaximumLibertarian.com. We are streaming today. I'm joined here by Chef Lili. I'm trying to get myself centered on the screen here real quick. So, as you'll see with the banner here, you can go to MaximumLibertarian.com. You can find out how you can help us out. So, I asked for you to join me today. There's a couple little things that I wanted to talk about. The first one being, I guess we just got breaking news. So let's pull it up. Let's see. Zelensky has slammed NATO for there's no clear path to the membership despite Biden unity pitch. We were told that Donald Trump was supposed to lead us into a World War III, and it's been the war hawks on the Democrat side. Not to say that there's no Democrats, no Republicans that are war hawks, but this old man, Joe Biden, is the one leading us in there. So, real quick, off your thought process, real quick, what do you think, Chef?
I think this is absolutely nuts. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, because I got my earplugs in, so I didn't know if you could hear me or not. I just think this is more of a show, like a pony show. Him about unity and stuff like that. Yeah, my opinions on all of this is a show. Everything is a show.
Right.
Because
It
there's
says in a
something.
very.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No.
Because I feel like that this is a show because something in the background is happening. So they need us to look in one direction. So everything else that may be falling apart is behind us. And we're not able to see that.
Right. It's a bad news because we just here recently we had a couple days ago where the U.S. is going to start sending them cluster bombs to Ukraine because Ukraine is running out of ammunition, according to Joe Biden. And cluster bombs have been, I guess, all these countries have signed a treaty saying that they would never use the cluster bomb. Luckily, the only three countries not to sign that treaty is the United States, Russia, and Ukraine. So, Jen Psaki last year said that if Vladimir Putin was using cluster bombs, he would be a war criminal. So,
yep.
What's the difference here?
I think they just want more death.
I think so too.
When
as long as they don't have to get blood on their hands,
right?
Well,
the best answer. I want to take it back about almost a month ago when the former President Trump was being interviewed, and they were asking, "Who do you want to win, Ukraine or Russia?" And the best answer he gave was, "I just wanted no one else to die. I wanted to all stop." And that to me is very important because we all should want that. We should all want no one to die. Let's just stop it, right? And I really feel that when Biden admitted he blew up the Russian pipelines, right? He admitted all of these things that America has done, and I was like, and then like his last interview, Biden also admitted that the United States is running low on ammunition as well. So he was putting us in this awkward situation, and I think that Biden doesn't want the world to admire us anymore. Like he wants to take the admiration, and everybody looked up to us, right? And even though we're like the newest country on the block, but it was crazy because I really felt ever since he came in here, that was his main mission, is to garnish or actually just eliminate altogether the United States pride.
Well, I don't know so much if it was just him. I think you could easily make the argument that this has been something that's been working on since I was a kid, which I would have never imagined because 4th of July used to mean something, but now it's like I just watched something on ridiculousness, and they were talking about an American flag T-shirt and hat,
Mm-hmm.
and the co-host was saying, "Oh, that symbol, don't." They were trying to make it light of it, like it was a joke, but they were pretty much saying, "Oh, they see it as," or he and the other guest who was on the couch with him saw it differently just because they were black, and that was kind of weird to me. It was sad, but
Mm.
but that's the constant beating of this drum about how you've been pushed down. I'm not saying that there hasn't been some type, of bad things that have happened in the past. Let's not. I'm not going to try to play that, but
Mm-hmm.
I also understand where we are and what we can be if we really want it to be. You know,
Yeah, there was the thing I just saw. One of my husband's soldiers text him a video of Robin Williams. I think it was in the 80s or 90s. He was in stage and he was actually the American flag, Robin Williams, and he was
right,
saying a lot of cool things about the stars and stripes and all. He's describing himself, right, as the American flag, and then he said something like, I this flag is a symbol of freedom. It is a symbol of hope.
right,
And he's like, I've had bad days. People have spit on me. People have set me on fire. And it was just like it brought me back to like the history of Vietnam when a lot of people were setting the American flags on fire. It reminded me of Rodney King. Um, I was still like in high school when they were setting the American flags on fire. Um, the riots in LA. That's where I saw. I can't remember. I think it was just like one flag they burned, and then in 2016 or 2017, yeah, it was 2017. They were setting flags on fire in D.C. because President Trump won the presidency, and they were setting all these flags on fire. So it's really interesting how now you can't have the American flag. It's no longer a sign of, well, still, what is funny? Okay, it's still a sign of pride, and people are like, no, it can't be, you can't be like that and stuff like that. Do you understand what
right.
I'm saying? it,
No, I
it's still
understand.
it still stands for pride, I think, and people are like,
Absolutely.
oh.
But I tell you one thing that we have done is sometimes people will. I mean, burning the flag is bad, but you know, uh, I mean, let's be honest. You can burn it all you want, but it's not. Uh, what the meaning behind it's not going to go anywhere. So in
Mm,
turn, uh, I mean, I get the concept of it being a free speech thing. Um, but I take offense sometimes to when people start doctoring it for and they put let's say Blue Lives Matter or the fire department. It's like
yeah,
you're not supposed to disgrace the. I mean, if burning the flag is bad, isn't that just as bad? I mean, it might not. It might set in the idea of where you go. I agree with that, but it's still the same. You're desecrating the flag. Am I wrong or
I think I get what you're saying, but when I was in the service, I wore green and black to camouflage with my uniform. So
well? That's
that's another.
different though. That's not
Is it?
that.
Because
Yes, you're
all the other American flags on uniforms were the red, white, and blue, but on my Master of Arms uniform, I always had the dark green and black, right? And
right.
people can see that, like, I know what you're saying. It's part of my uniform, right? And you're correct,
Yes,
but it is also a different color of the American flag. But one thing that I'm thankful for was they stopped making pride flags out of the United States of American flag, because that really made me upset.
right.
Not because um, I don't believe in what they believe in. It was just that, you know, if you say that you believe in something so much and you hate this country, why would you want to put your colors on it if you hate it so much? You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, yeah, I
So it's
get
kind
that.
of like
Hmm.
I felt like they were going
Yeah.
to do like a double standard a little bit there, and I was just like, um, yeah, I just thought that was really odd. But one, I was thinking about the American flag just the other day. Um, for Fourth of July, we just had our Independence Day, right? And I had all of my flags on my driveway, like the ones that you stick in the ground, right?
Hmm.
And I still have them in there, but it's just like I feel that as not just as a veteran, right? It's just something I was raised to do is to celebrate America, not to hate her, And then you got to think I was serving when 9/11 happened. So I got to see and experience that wave of patriotic, right? And then now
Right.
it's like it's almost like a roller coaster kind of thing. We're going up and down, and yeah, I just feel like sometimes we're in the down, but we'll go back up or something like that too. Okay, I'll go
You
shut
know,
up now.
I was listening to someone, maybe it was on Temple. I can't
Okay.
remember, but they were saying that when Rome was on its last legs because everything was so good that
Mm-hmm.
they became, and I'm gonna have to double check this, but they said they had became obsessed with
Sex-
gender and
Sexuality.
sex and things. And then that's one of the declines in the, where it just fell off the cliff.
Yes.
Uh, and I thought that was kind of interesting because if you're looking at the way that we are now, we
Mm-hmm.
have this silliness with, I think, almost going too crazy with trying for gender and sexuality and things of that nature. We've almost went to a limit, pushing it past the breaking point.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
gotta share something with you. It's really crazy. So I go shopping, um, you know, well, I'm the wife in my family, obviously, but I go shopping and I buy a lot of like socks, boxers, undergarments, right? And the other day I just found something, and anything that is meant for evil, there's a way that God can turn it around and make it for good. And there was a whole section. Um, I want to say it was TJ Maxx. No, I think it was Marshalls. They're selling transgender underwear. So, like when a person's going cutting off their genitalia, and there's going to be months after the surgery that they're going to have fluid coming from their body to their underwear, right? And it's even called, um, I think it's called period panties. And I just was like standing there, right? And I was like, wow, this is nuts, right? Underwear for people that transition themselves, right? And it's like to me, I was like, well, how about for the girls that actually have this, you know, not condition, but this happens, right? And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to gross anybody out, but it was just like I think that was interesting because it's like we're thinking about one specific group of people, which is in marketing called a um, niche marketing, and that's when you put all your energy in this one particular area. So I'm all for that, and then I turned around and I bought some because I'm like, hey, I am a girl, and I'm going to use it for me, right? And I just thought that was really interesting because it's like there's a lot of things that are happening. And yes, it's actually true. I remember hearing about the ending of Rome with Steven Crowder. Him and Gerald A. were talking about how the empire just went from learning about art, and then like one day they woke up and it was all about sex. But you know what? There's something else I wanted to share with you because there's an attack on children, right? And we've heard all of this a million zillion times, right? There's an attack for our children kind of deal. And I went back into one of my books, and it was crazy how our generation is saying, oh, they're attacking our children, right? But in the 1900s, there were thousands upon thousands of children working in coal mines. They were the ones that would lit up the dynamite sticks, and because they were little,
Okay.
they would run out, and if it blew up before they got out, they were dead. But it was okay, right? Then they had children working almost 12 to 14-hour shifts in the butchery. Like, that's what they did. They cut up cows, they cut up food and stuff like that. And 1901 happens, and the president gets assassinated. And so Theodore Roosevelt becomes president, and he stops all of this. He stops child labor, like right in the tracks. And I just thought that was really crazy because part of our history, children were a dime a dozen. They didn't have special value or meaning as they do today. And it's really awesome to hear that people are getting very, you know, not upset, well, yeah, upset about what's happening with June, with the teachers dressing up like, what was it? Unicorns, right? They were dressing up as furries. The teachers, not children, okay? And they were waving the pride flag of the beginning one. The one was just the rainbow. And they were waving that in the kids' faces, like in their actual faces. I was like, what in the name? But so that happened just last month, right? And then I really thought it was awesome that the kids stood up for themselves and started wearing American flags to school. Did you hear about that?
Right.
Yeah, and I thought that was really awesome just to have that experience of a moment of clarity that the children do not want this to be shoved down their throats. They're done. Everybody's done with this. Let's go on to something else, right? And well, the something else is climate change, but we're not going to get I'm not going to talk about that unless you want to. But I just thought that was
No.
really interesting how in the 1900s, 1800s, kids meant nothing. They were selling kids off of trains. It's called the orphan trains. They were taking kids
Right.
from the city, and they were taking them on trains and dropping them off in the Midwest, in the farms and stuff like that. And those kids were treated really bad too. And if you want, at the end, I can text you um, some of the book titles and who they are, so you can put that underneath the link of this video.
Right. Yeah. That'd be great. But to continue on, so now we've got this war going on, or we're prepping. If we were to get, because I was listening, they said that when back in 2008, right before Obama, if you remember when Russia
Mm-hmm.
went into Georgia, it was because NATO had just voted to allow Ukraine and Georgia into NATO, and Russia moved in on Georgia. And what you're seeing now, here you've got Biden trying tirelessly to have provoke Russia to move in harder onto Ukraine, and we're
Mm-hmm.
going to have that. But the problem that we're going to run into is, let's pull this story up.
Okay.
Right here, it says military recruiting crisis. Even veterans don't want their families to join. I talked about this last week. I made a little video about it. But if you just go down through the story here, it talks about how it used to be of, the family, well,
Yep.
the grandfather was in this branch of the military, the father was, then the son or daughter, however it pans out. But the family was what inspired usually the person to continue on with service to the nation. Now the veterans and the active duty individuals are saying, no, I don't think it's a good fit for you. If you
Right.
can just go through the article, I don't know if it's this article or if it was in the article on Wall Street Journal, but they're having recruiting problems. Everyone's going to miss. The Army's going to miss how many people that they're supposed to, or their goal to recruit.
Mm-hmm.
Navy is, Air Force, maybe Marines might be the only one that doesn't miss it for some, because of the way Marines think.
Yeah.
The idea behind it. But what do you think about this? Here we are getting ready to possibly go into a major war. If you got just Ukraine, uh, you got possibly Taiwan. You've got
Yeah.
people inside our country. Plus, you have because you got to think when FDR, World War II, he took all the Japanese that were here and he rounded them up and put them in concentration camps. Now I know we barely talk about that, but he was scared that they were going to somehow turn on
Hmm.
this,
He
this
also did the
this.
Chinese too. It wasn't
I
just
don't
the
remember.
Japanese.
All right, well, I knew he did the Japanese. I didn't know he did
Yeah.
Chinese.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, he was a horrible president. But that
Mm.
that being said, what do you think about this now with the military not bringing
Well, I got a
not
lot to say about that, my friend. I got a lot to say. Okay, so like you just said like 2 seconds ago, right? Sorry, I'm readjusting my chair here. Okay, good. I'm trying to hold the camera or my phone up, right? Because I couldn't do it on my desktop. Okay, so I am one of those people that you were talking about. My grandfather was in the Army and Air Force Corps. My father was in the Army. My uncle, his brother, was in the Army. His son was Army, and his other son is Navy. I'm the first female to ever join the military, and I joined the Navy. And I would have to say, well, you know how you have family reunions and stuff, right?
right?
Okay, I think it's too dark over here. Sorry. So the family reunions, I would have to say, 30 to 40% of my heritage of my family is actually military, and I just think it's interesting. And one of, I guess you would be considered my second cousin. Um, she asked me point blank, how would how was the Navy? Should she join and all this other stuff, right? And I told her, I go, first is first. If you're done getting educated, you're done with all the college and stuff like that, then I told her, I go, the Navy isn't what the Navy once was when I was serving. So I can't really talk about if it is, a good thing or not. And she was like, well, what would you do? And I go, I would not join. I just couldn't do it.
Right.
And I shared with you a couple of stories um, about one of my friends, like one of my great friends, retired, and she had a great time. She did, I think, 21 years, and she got out, and then she got recalled back in, and her officer that was giving her orders to go where she was going to be placed at, or her duty station, right? Uh, was a man wearing a woman's uniform, and she was like, that was very intense for her. She was like, because well, she's a psychologist, so yeah, psychologist, so she knows that that is a mental disorder, and that, like,
Right.
it's really hard, because everything is changing very fastly, and you're trying to walk on eggshells a little bit. But all honesty, I understand why people wouldn't want to join. Like, so many people. Um, is this going to be on YouTube or no?
Yeah, it'll be on
Okay.
YouTube. It's on
Okay.
Twitter. I was gonna try to get it on Rumble, but the link
Okay.
fell through, so I just turned it off.
Okay. So I got to choose my words wisely because I don't want you to get a strike. But we all know there has been massive reports on the vaccine injured people in the service, right? We have known that a lot of service member have now um, have HIV, and it's just like, what's going to happen to them, you know? And does anybody give a hoot? And so that's why I wouldn't join the military today, because there's so many people that are fighting to not get vaccines. And that was one of the things that really turned the military, because we used to have options, right? We used to were able to say religious exemption. I don't believe it. It's kind of like my body, my choice kind of thing. And everything just switched on a dime. And a lot of people were like, holy mackerel, I am like 17 years in and I'm getting out because I'm not going to do this, you know? And a lot of families were destroyed both ways. One, they're getting out of the service, or another, they are vaccine injured.
Right.
So,
It's now, when it comes to the vaccine and stuff, I mean, I get that.
mm-hmm,
I think there's a lot of political, as you saw in that one article that I had up on the screen. They were one of the complaints was um, it's so politicized now,
mm-hmm,
and in reality of I mean, if you're going to go to war, you can't, or when or you're training to be protective, be that guard, the gatekeeper. Um, let's be honest. I mean, I want to have some order. I want to have structure, and I want to not be trying to make people feel good. This isn't a spot where, I mean, I don't want people to be harassed and things happen,
mm-hmm,
because I know several people that have had traumas done to them inside the service through their people that should have been there to protect them. But that being said,
mm-hmm.
um, let's be honest. I mean, I, I do see this where it's politicized. It's so politicized now. That's that's one
Yes.
thing. You also, as you see with this one, uh,
Would you
kids
join?
aren't well. If I had to join today, like I was
Mm-hmm,
25, 24 again,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
eh, well, I mean, I had a good time there. I mean, if
But it
I
was a
had my
different time.
command that I
Yeah,
I know it
yeah.
was. So in turn, I look at it as then I don't have to deal with it now. So like I get excited when other people when I hear my friend's daughter's friend, she marched with us in a parade
Mm-hmm,
for one of our candidates and Matt Waters, but she joined the Navy. And that still excites me, but at the same time I'm looking at it from a different um lens, because when I got out of the service, I started looking at foreign policy. At the
okay.
time, I thought, okay, everything. So in turn, I look at now, it's like the deep state. I'm looking at this war machine where it used to be. I wanted to believe when they told me that we're going over, we've got to go into Iraq because of 9/11 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Massive
Well,
destruction. Mm-hmm.
it was a lie. It was a straight
Yes.
lie. And Bush should be arrested, and Cheney should be arrested, and Obama. Look, any of them. We can go
All of
down the list.
them.
Yeah. Um, and that's the thing that bothers me more. Is like I see these Vietnam vets, and I talk to at these different vet organizations, and even all right. So I should just say anything from 2004 to 2000 and forward up to now, uh, I'll say the government lied in a lot of situations to keep
Mm-hmm,
us in war.
mm-hmm,
Everything back then, I don't know. But I look at the Vietnam War, and I know my dad he never talked about it if we
mm-hmm.
didn't ask. He always used to say it's a businessman's war. It was a businessman's war. It's a bit, and then you start hearing all this
Wow.
stuff like how Kennedy won us out. Kennedy got when he started saying pull us out, they knocked him off. So what are we supposed to do here? How you're
Mm,
supposed to go? I was there fighting for good,
yeah.
and you're like, well, what was I fighting for? Because look at how I look. And the one thing I'll say about Biden, when we pulled out of Afghanistan, could have it been done better? Absolutely. Just getting out of the Afghanistan, I think you would have had a lot of hiccups anyway, regardless of what you would have done. I
Mm-mm.
think you would have had a lot of hiccups if you would have did a complete withdrawal. Now, if you're just going to leave people there, it might be a little bit different story. But I'm saying as a complete withdrawal, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been a nightmare regardless. But But the thing is, they immediately start talking with the Taliban. Well, who
Yep.
the hell have we been fighting for the past 14 years, 20 years?
Right.
You know,
Right.
now you're telling me, this is the good Taliban. And see, I
When is a
never was,
terrorist good?
yeah, I was never in that hot zone, if you will, like in Iraq or whatever. I mean, I was in a war zone, but I was on a sub. I can just imagine what these guys and gals who have lost limbs and
Friends.
the PTSD. And now you're getting told, hey, this group we were told was the bad guys, or now, oh no, we're going to have to work with them. That's
Wow.
a massive issue
That's something hard
to
to
me.
swallow. Yeah. Okay, so what I want to touch on that. Okay, so I feel like personally, with what happened with the closing down of that base, was pure insanity. It was nobody wanted to make a decision. People made decisions because they thought that that would be the best and stuff like that. I don't, to this day, I don't have a lot of admiration for officers. I don't respect them in a way that I did when I was actually active duty. I've seen a lot of
Are you talking about military officers,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's
Okay.
just like, to me, a lot of the stuff that's happening should not have happened. And if you had freaking good officers, right, it would have, the things that we would have said or saw. And then there's also another thing too. Did we actually see something, or was it just something from 12 years ago? Videos, right? Because the videos of people falling from the airplanes and stuff like that, that was debunked. That happened in 2013. So that was an old video playing back again, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, they're hanging onto the airplanes and stuff like that." Okay, so if that was false, what else was false, right? And the other thing is that gets me more upset each and every day that I think of it. I think it was 38 dogs were left behind, and any person that has a dog for their partner, right? Um, Marines have dogs, Navy have dogs, Army have dogs, and not one of those fucking soldiers, excuse my language, or Marine or whoever was there did, like, consciously leave their dogs behind. You're a dirtbag. You deserve to be dishonorably discharged. That is your partner, that is government property, and you left them behind. Now, was that true? Or was that something that they just took a picture of? See, it's
Right.
like now there's so many things that they're trying to make you angry. They're pulling on your heartstring, right? And I get that. I understand that. And it's just like um, some of the things that we were told about September 11th come out to be false. Like 20 years later, the truth is coming out, right? And Tracy is the one that told me that the 20-year mark, everything comes to light. And I was like, okay. So I went to the CIA website and I looked up USS Liberty. And that was an operation that Israel shot a United States. Uh, I want to say the Liberty was like a destroyer. It wasn't like a aircraft carrier or anything like that. I don't now try to remember what it was. But anyway, Israel openly fired upon a U.S. ship. And it was told that in the file that I was reading, they did it on purpose to see what the United States would do. And we did absolutely nothing. They shut up sailors and they killed, like, I think it was 2 or 3 sailors, injured 15. And they were told to sign kind of like not like an affidavit, but like, what is it that when you sign that you can't talk about it?
Like an NDA,
Yeah, yes,
non-disclosure
yes,
agreement.
exactly. And And this one sailor was dying, and he's like, "Eff it, I'm gonna sing like a canary. People need to know this." So on his deathbed, he sung like a canary, and that's when the CIA had to come out and say, "Yes, we knew about this. Yes, this did happen." Da, da, da. And it was like, then there were ships called the Shad. Shad was the U.S. Army putting Agent Orange and chemicals into the Navy ships to see how we would respond health wise. And that had to come out, and it's just like all of these things that the military has done on each other while active duty. And then it's just like, so the vaccine was just one of those things. That was another thing that they put on top of us, right? And a lot of people don't understand that we go through a thing called a gas chamber that puts chemicals into your lungs permanently. Some gas chambers are stronger than others. Some of them had Agent Orange. So you're 18 years old, 19 years old, or however old you are going through boot camp, you're being exposed right at the very beginning of your career to these chemicals, right? And a lot of people, I didn't look at it until I'm older and now that I'm out, right? I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as, oh my gosh, this is going to sound crazy, but I looked at it as this is a team building kind of thing. My sister and I were locking arms and we're taking off our mask. I don't know if you ever had to get tased, but I got tased. I've gotten sprayed, the chemical sprays that you have. Well, I guess not all sailors would have it. I was a master of arms, so I had that. It's a chemical spray, like for.
It's mace.
Thank you,
Well, it's
thank
pretty
you.
much like mace.
I forgot what it was called. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
You're right. And it was like getting sprayed with that into my eyes. Um, Probably why a lot of us veterans have dry eyes at the tender ages that we're getting to. Right? Not going to share my age, but we're getting up there, and it was like these are small things that they put us all in together, right? Yes, it's kind of like team building. We're doing all of this together, right? And then when we're old, we can laugh at it and stuff like that. But then we're all broken down going to the VA and we're wondering why, right? Well, there's other things that I think was really interesting about the military was when you got your promotions and or do you have your submarine little fishy things that saying that
Yeah, I still have
everything
the
about?
dolphins.
Yeah, okay, what is that called?
Yeah,
Mine's called
dolphins.
surface. Okay, it's just called dolphins. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
um
ESWAS for
yes,
the
yes, yes.
surface ship. And we were
Okay,
right.
so you know all about that. All right. So
Mhm.
um when I got mine, I got holes in my chest, right? Because they put it in there, and that's called hazing. And that was something that's I think is taken out of the military because I think you can actually get in trouble under the UCMJ if you're caught hazing. And I don't know, there's just so many things about the military that once was and now is gone. And then I feel like some of the stuff when we take out of the military, we're making it softer. And I just feel like I would be inappropriate today for the United States Navy because I still cuss a lot. Um, I know way too much now than I ever did. And like my eyes are so open to everything that we have done to each other. I mean, the United States Army, if you ever gone and look up the history of the Army, um, it's crazy. It wasn't the Army, I don't know if it was the Army or Air Force, was in charge of the atomic bomb and getting Einstein like to stay focused and get the job done kind of thing. Wasn't that Army guy?
I'm not certain because
Okay.
that was so. Well, what's that? That was they had so much going on. No one knew what they were working on. So I'm not certain who was in charge of it.
Okay. Well, I know the military has always had their little hot hand in a lot of this. Yeah, they even have a name for it. What is it called? Shimoli. military complex.
Which
What is it
one?
called? What is it called?
The
Military
military industrial
industrial.
complex.
Yes. So
Right.
we have terms for what the military has done, definitely. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you on my thoughts of joining the Navy today. I don't think I would be accepted, or because I'm inappropriate in that aspect. If I give you an order to do something and you don't do it, I would automatically write you up. I wouldn't talk to you. You know, I would say, I gave you an
Right.
order, you were disobedient, you didn't do it, blase, blase, right? And I could just see that now, how some people would just cry about it. And it's just like the Navy was the first one to really go woke out of all of them. I don't know if you remember some of the commercials. Do you?
I don't know. I don't know if the Navy was the first one. I think that's a whole all the way across the board. I don't think because they're all controlled by the same. Yeah, I mean,
Really?
but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think the Navy was the first one.
Because I remember the Marine Corps and their helmet. I remember that. They had the gay colors in their helmet. I remember the Navy was the first one that did pronouns, and then the Army
Because
did
usually
the
that's
two mom ones.
yeah, but is that in a commercial?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's, yeah, I'm talking
Okay.
about marketing for the military nowadays
Yeah, but
versus.
like I said, that a lot of that stuff comes from the Department of Defense, and like this is what we're going to do, and
Yep, I
this is
remember.
what
What
we're
was
going
that
to do.
general saying about white rage? Remember that, General Milley?
Yeah, I do remember that.
So,
Gosh, that's been several months, but I mean, look, it's not. It's definitely not. They're working tirelessly to make sure that we're unfit and not
mm-hmm,
welcome. I mean, if those that want to serve don't show up, and then so you're going to cater to those that have you ever, some it's like when you comic books. We'll use comic books and those. Okay, you or NASCAR, whatever. We want to get a new set of eyeballs, and we want more people to read our comics or watch NASCAR.
yes,
So they start trying to market towards individual that's
niche
never
marketing. Mm-hmm.
they don't want to watch it. So you in turn you turn off the people that are supporting you. So now they're not buying your comics or watching your programming, and those that you're trying to beg to watch, they don't care about you and they don't
Right.
watch you and they don't, so it's kind of
Yep.
silly in the way that we've done this, yeah,
I will tell you
but
this
what
though.
but yeah,
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, hon.
yeah, yeah,
The
go ahead.
one.
No.
Okay, the one thing that I can say, I don't know what your thoughts and opinions are, but I really enjoyed the new Navy movie that came out probably like 3 or 4 years ago called Battleship. Um,
Uh-huh.
the dynamics of a small boy relationship. Okay, so let me break that down to civilian talk. Small boy is a frigate or a destroyer, and I think he was on the destroyers actually, and has a very small crew, and that's why we call them boats, or I think we call them boats. I don't think we call them ships, but anyway, um, in the movie The Battleship, it showed you the dynamics of how things are and
Hmm.
how things once were. Because there was a warrant officer that I swear to you, I knew him. Like, I, I don't know why they're so angry. A warrant officer is kind of like a weird ranking system. It's really wackadoodle people that get into this little club called warrant officers. And it's like the moment they stick on their uniform as a warrant officer, they become some demonic monster that's possessed by I don't know what. I don't know what. But in the movie
Right.
Battleship, they portrayed the warrant officer perfect to the T on how they actually are in real life. And I was like, that was good, right? And then I liked the command chief. I don't think he was a master chief, but I think he was the command chief on the boat. And he was asking his officer, "Are you all right? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to, And I thought that was really cool because I showed you that there's people that are in the service that really do care, right? there's always going to be people that really care, right? And it was a like a little insight of what the Navy once was when I was serving. I had that chief that would go around asking the girls, "How you doing? Hmm? Have you talked to your parents lately?" Like that was his job. Like he would boost the female morale,
Right.
and it was just like the Battleship movie was really way out there. I mean, come on, it was crazy, but like the dynamics of the structure of order, and like there was sailors. I know. I don't know if you can say this, but I know I can say this. There were sailors that say, "Okay, so this officer's now in charge," and we would be like, "What the f? We're all gonna die." And in the movie Battleship, there was a line that when the both the XO and CO died, this I think he was the weapons officer, and he became like the CO, and everybody's like, "We're gonna die. This guy is horrible," right? And that's a real
Right.
feeling that enlisted had. We don't have confidence in our officers because they're same age as us, right, or a little bit older, right? And what makes them different is because they have college and we don't. Like,
You
dude,
know,
I don't. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
you were talking about that, and just a few last couple weekends ago when I was up in Connecticut for the boat reunion, and
Yay.
I remember they were talking about. They said the captain, who was awesome, is Captain Cassiano, and he was. They were like, this guy was 40 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he was in charge of this nuclear powered submarine, and he had a bunch of kids that were 19, 20, and
Mm-hmm.
I had never put, and now I'm 47, about to turn 48, and it made me go like, now I'm older than the captain was, and I can just imagine
The stress.
like with this guy getting. I mean, like, I had a great command. That's, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, that was so cool. But I never put that on there. And when you're talking about, like, so the military, it's not like the military is made up of a bunch of old men. I mean, yeah, I know you got your guys that are able to hang around the officers, or maybe some type of master
Yeah.
chief or something. But for the most part, they're young people control that we've got to entrust to going to do the right thing and be prepared when time comes.
Yeah.
It was real when you talked about just the age of the warrant officer. But let's go on to the last thing real quick, and I don't know
Okay.
if you saw this. I'm going to try to play this video.
Okay.
Let's pull it up, and we'll hopefully I can get it to. All right, let's see. There we go. All right, so here's all the shorts. Hopefully you can hear it. But Donald Trump goes and asks, "What the hell's a blizzard?"
Nobody wants a blizzard. What the hell is a blizzard?
Oh, the ice cream blizzard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dairy Queen.
All right.
Nobody wants a blizzard.
That's President Trump asking to. He was asking, like, does what the hell's a blizzard? His motions, just that type of stuff makes him so relatable. When he went to, he was the only one. The other president we've got, Joe, has not went to East Palestine since the train wreck and it dumped all that chemicals in the water system. They've and the media has turned a blind eye, just like he did with Flint.
Yeah.
But when Trump went there, he's saying, I'll order from the McDonald's. Let's go to McDonald's. He's like, I probably know the menu better than any of you. But saying silly stuff like that, he becomes relatable, like him or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Trump's leading in the Republican field. Okay.
Yeah.
That's number one. But he needs to learn real quick. He needs to get people around him. I would probably suggest going back to who brought him to the dance in 2016 that he fired. He fired like Steve Bannon. He fired a lot of people.
Roger Stone.
Roger Stone, bring them in and let them help, because when if he was to make it in, and he really does this burning down the system, going after people,
Mm-hmm.
he better watch himself, because when he was talking about pardoning Julian Assange, Mitch
Yeah.
McConnell said, okay, he said, what the, if you pardon Julian Assange, you will not become a impeached president. You will become a convicted president. That right there,
Jeez.
and I know. Look, Trump cuts their throat. They cut Trump's throat. But right there, when I see him do silly stuff like handing out blizzards,
Mm-hmm.
giving out pizza, he did that a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And then you're telling me that and then you're charging him with things that all you could charge the current sitting president with and people down below. So if you went across the board and everyone got arrested for it and got charged, I think it would be like, okay, this makes sense. This okay, at least we're cleaning up the government. But they're not. They're going after
No.
one guy. And look, I never voted for him either time. But
Mm-hmm.
I laugh when I watch him talk.
Yes.
People say he's a stand-up comedian. It's very true. He's a stand-up comedian. I don't know if you saw Post Millennial posted yesterday. The whistleblower came out talking about how Biden and the corruption within the Biden family. The
Mm-hmm.
whistleblower. The feds, the Justice Department, is now going after him.
Yeah.
For different things. So it's been weaponized. The FBI is weaponized. CIA is weaponized. I think that's used to be fringe talk.
Do you know what
Like
is
you were talking
funny
about
though?
9/11 earlier, and you said that.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Oh, I didn't
What's
mean to
funny?
break your. What's funny is that why are you squirming like a worm on a hook, FBI? Why are you freaking the F out, IRS? Like, so you're going after people because they know that you're not doing your job,
Right.
or are you freaking out because they know the names, right? And see, sometimes like when I did investigations back in the day, um, there's always like a famous saying, follow the money kind of deal, right? But it's always like I always follow the person, and I try to see, like when I got to see. Well, I shouldn't say what I got to see. Um, I would break it down into groups of when I did investigations. I did follow the money, right, to catch other people maybe, but I followed a particular person, and I feel like when a whistleblower comes out, they have a list of names, right? And didn't he go and like do a video first because he knew that somebody may kill him or whatnot? Is that the
I'm
one you're
not
talking
certain how
about?
he did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he did a whole video, like an interview, like I am so and so whistleblowing this, and this, right? And I might get killed, so I want all my information out there. But what is really crazy is that Hunter Biden, I don't care what anybody says, that guy, I forgot his real name because I think Hunter is his middle name. Um, he was smoking or not smoking. I take that back. He was doing it looked like a bullet, right? And he was inhaling right behind Jill at the White House. And like we started talking about it, and then all of a suddenly it's gone, right? And I did some investigation on what that inhaler could have been, and I was just like, it's nothing for like asthma or anything like that, right? It was nothing. It was straight up cocaine, or it was straight up heroin, anything that can be inhaled, right? And it even has like a capsule that it goes inside the nose, right? And nothing will come out, like nothing. It's just squirting right into the nose, right? Right into that little canal, right? Going right to the brain and releasing it. But it's so bizarre that he did it so boldly in front of everybody and didn't think that any of us is going to catch that. Like, how dumb are you?
Well, like I said, I don't. Well, many people. He's not getting in trouble. So
Mm.
really, he's now got to really. Yeah, they took him to court trying to pretend that this was going to be some See, we took him to court and he got off scot
Yeah.
free. We're not going to investigate anything else, but he's now clearing free to do whatever. So there's no real reason to do any more investigation. But we're going back to Trump real quick. If you
Okay.
like, here's Delegate. Let's see, I haven't pulled it up yet. Let's pull it up real quick. And I was talking about her Delegate Marie March. She lost her primary
Okay.
and here, but she talks about there's four actual conservatives running yesterday in the primary: myself, Amanda Chase, Matt Strickland, and Hermie Sadler. And Glenn Youngkin directed all lobbyist money and marched out his minions to endorse against us to rid Virginia of our right wing conservative goals. These are individuals that were very much highly into Donald Trump. So as you can
Wait,
see,
Matt.
here's a picture of Glenn Youngkin.
Matt was with President Trump.
From I guess from my understanding, I know Marie March is a massive Trump supporter.
Okay.
Do you know this individual?
I gotta see
Matt
a photo.
Strickland? Do you know him?
Yes, he's a tall white guy, like really, really tall.
Right.
Of course, I'm short, so everybody's really, really tall.
I mean, I the only
know
one I know Hermie Sadler. If that's I think he might have drove NASCAR or something. Amanda Chase never impressed me, but Marie March did. Okay, but this is what you got within the inside fighting of the Republican Party, because
And
there's
there's a
been
lot.
so many people that have told me, they have said, if Trump gets the nomination, I might vote Libertarian, which was fine. I mean, that's who I would vote for. But if you think voting for Ron DeSantis, we'll just use him as an example. I like Ramaswamy's pretty good. I like Tim Scott.
Is that the native guy from India?
Yeah, Ramaswamy is, yes. And I think he's polling third place. And then Tim Scott's been his message is very good. He's very positive. But if you think and I'm not just dogging them, but if you think you're going to vote for one of the guys, not Trump, and you're not going to have riots in the street, you're not going to have media being very negative, all that good stuff, you're sadly mistaken. So if you really like Donald Trump, you ought to support that guy. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's really weird to me. People that were fierce Donald Trump supporters 16 and 20, now they're like, I'm just wore out. And I get it, you're wore out. You don't want to see race riots in the street or burning down of communities or just fraudulent, hey, we're going to pretend we're going to do something with a Russia hack collusion. But that's, if it was truly, they would have figured out, which everyone knew, that Hillary Clinton and her campaign was the one that started it. So they should have been on trial. But why they didn't, I mean, it's crazy. It's almost like remember when Scooter Libby went to jail back in 2006? He was Vice President Cheney's press secretary. Well, he released a guy's name. He released a spy's name, one of our spies.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, so he went to jail.
Yes,
but they said that everyone knew. He wasn't the one who released it. It was like this well-known reporter released it. He just repeated it. So, but in turn, we all know that Hillary Clinton did it, but we're just going to pretend that she didn't. Like, remember how they used to talk about Trump saying, "Show me the birth certificate"? That came from the Hillary campaign in 2008. When she was it was John Podesta started it, and it got rubbed on because Trump said, well, show me the birth certificate, which maybe he shouldn't have said it. And I mean, he could have some arguments, I don't know, but be here or there, it don't matter. Why didn't we? Well, there's a lot of things there that I think we should look at. But once again, I guess in the end, when I see Trump doing the McDonald's things, some of the stuff he's talking about, he better get himself surrounded by the right people, because they are going to come at him unreal. I mean,
I do see some people in Congress now that are done with Trump. They were on the Trump train,
Yeah.
and now I see they jumped off. And what is her name? Taylor Greene lady?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, she's now a rhino. She was kicked off some uh
Well, she was
freedom.
kicked out of the Freedom Caucus, but
Yeah.
I,
What do you think? What are your
it,
thoughts?
I mean, I don't have no issue with. I mean, personally, if I like people in the Freedom Caucus are okay. I mean, they're not my. I would really like. I mean, I like a Thomas Massey better
Mm,
than most. Rand Paul's okay. Justin Amash was fine when he was there. You know, these were like core people that I would really. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Laura Bobart. Now I like Byron Donaldson. He's pretty good. And I know we're going to have conflicts. Okay, if you've laid out like the Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's probably things that I would be like completely, you know, she's going to be completely anti what I would believe in,
okay.
but that's fine. I don't have an issue with it. I find caucuses to be stupid, personally. I
Okay.
understand. Now, I guess I'm taking that from the libertarians because in the libertarians, we're a small group as is. Well,
Hmm.
then they make a stupid thing called the Mises Caucus, which we're going to be real libertarians. All right, so now you got libertarians going against a caucus that's saying they're the real libertarians. Well, then you get some other caucus start up, the classical liberal caucus, because that's what's Thomas Jefferson and all of them. The like a true libertarian would be classical liberal,
Okay.
and because it's like you, the individual, have the freedoms. It's not the state giving you freedoms. God gave you the freedoms, you know. But you know, you have this other caucus. Well, now we've got two caucuses button heads, shredding the party, which is already extremely small, you
Hmm.
know? And it's just like, stop it. I mean, I think the Libertarian Party is destined to be just single digits. As much as I hate to say that, I see that. What am I going to do to I mean, all right, if I tried to rally the party to get them to get on board, they're not. If you look at the Republicans, the sad thing about the Republicans, like when, you know, I just showed you Marie March, her
Hmm.
stuff was, what were you expecting? You have a lot of Republicans that are not really Republicans, that don't believe in the values, that believe. When I was told once, I was just collecting signatures the other week, and guys running for U.S. or Virginia Senate up there in northern up part of 6th District.
Okay.
And someone said, "I'm not going to sign it. We don't like libertarians." I said, "I don't want your
Wow.
signature, and I'm not going to debate you. Well, will you tell me what's your issue with libertarians?" And their statement was, "I'm a strong constitutional conservative. I'm very conservative."
Okay.
And I
Okay.
thought, well, who? And now, because I said I'm not going to debate you, I
Hmm.
couldn't do a follow up question because the question would have been, I don't guess you don't ever get to vote because I've never seen a true conservative come out of who did you vote for? You know what I'm saying? So, but no, like I said, it's just silly. I think it's just so when I see Freedom Caucus, do you have issues with her?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have no issue with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I think she's getting a divorce, and so is Laura Bobart. Not that that's a big thing.
No. Laura
Yeah.
Bobart is getting a divorce?
Hmm.
Well, the Taylor Greene lady, she committed adultery, so I can understand why the husband
Well,
wants to
that's the
roll out.
rumor. That's all
Mm.
rumor. So I don't know. Not that I follow the gossip of the trash up there in DC, but
You don't follow the trash? That's
so,
funny.
but no,
But
that's
I
a
didn't know wow, that sucks. Because
yeah.
that's what made them win their races was sorry, I just got a text message. That's what made them win because they had a strong family. They're coming from a
Right.
loving family, and it's almost like why if you're a wife, why would you want to see this? This is another thing though. oh, this sounds so sexist, and I can't believe this is going to come out of my mouth, but I really feel that if you're single, right, you should definitely be in Congress, right? And if you're a husband, you can be in there too. But like with women, this is like really odd because Nancy Pelosi and her husband, they don't even talk. Like she
Well,
didn't, I don't know,
it's
it's
an
just so,
act.
yeah, but it's just so odd to me, like to know that all these women they devote their time to their community, and what suffers is their marriage, and that just sucks. But I didn't know Lobart or whatever how to pronounce her last name. I didn't know she was getting a divorce. I hope
Yeah,
Carrie Lake's husband stays with her. You know,
right.
I
Now,
hope.
see, the thing is with, like I said, it's an act with because people expect, like, if you run for office, you got to have a wife, you got to have kids,
Mm-hmm.
and then if not, look, I'm going to use Tim Scott as an example. He's not married; he's single, and people
Okay.
are looking at him crazy,
Why?
like because everyone is to be. It's like being a captain on a ship, on a sub. That they to not saying you can't make it to be a captain of a boat, but
Okay.
they want you to see that you got a structured, stable family at the house. So if you look at Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, that they were not in love. Let's be honest. I mean, they might like each other, but they were pretty much there because they were used like to show this. We've got this family type thing, that
Yeah.
it's an act. So really, I think
Yes.
it might not like it, but that's just reality,
Mm.
you know.
No, because I
So
didn't know like a lot of this stuff was fake because I did see President Trump multiple times holding hands with his wife, and but it's like I couldn't imagine being the first lady. But it's just like to me, when I see her, I just have so much empathy for her because everybody's coming at her, right? And remember all the rumors that they weren't
right.
getting a divorce, they don't even sleep together, and all this other stuff. I was like, dang, I don't need to know about that about my president. And then remember JFK having affairs left and right, and allegedly, was it John F. Kennedy's brother uh, got Marilyn Monroe pregnant, and she wanted to keep it, and they were like, no. So
Right.
it's crazy. But then you got to also
Well,
think, um, going into politics will put on a massive strain on your family. And like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was the governor of California. Now he's divorced, and he also has
right.
a son, just like Bill Clinton has a son out of wedlock. And it must be so hard, but then it's also probably very hard to be married and be a captain of a submarine too.
I would imagine, but that's the way it is. So,
Mm,
all
yeah.
right. Do you have anything else to discuss, or you have anything to push,
Yes.
or
Well,
all
not
right, go for
push. Okay, so um the projects I'm working on right now is some history. I got some new books, so I will be doing some reading podcasts of books from the 1800s, that kind of time frame, and just how people. I would read a couple chapters and then I will give my commentary after that, and that's going to be on Rumble, and it's called America. No, excuse me, American Receipts, and I'm not doing any cooking videos yet because I'm still in school a lot. And even though I'm done for the summer, I still haven't really got back into the swing of things. So I really needed to come on your podcast to get all excited again at doing podcasting.
it. All
And
right.
yeah, that's it. I'm on. Oh, um, so it's Rumble American Receipts.
All right. That sounds good. As you can see on the scroll,
Okay.
MaximumLibertarian.com, that's where you can find out everything you can to help us out grow this brand. So until next time, I'm Brian, that's Chef Lili, and we will see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.